George, what's the difference between a programmer and a web developer?
Well, there's really not much different, but a programmer primarily focuses on software, and it's again really a nitpicky sort of thing. But what a web developer typically does is they try to use a solution that's been out there already, and they try to make it work for a particular business. A software developer, which is more what a programmer does, is going to try to basically invent something that doesn't really exist at all, and try to make that part of the industry. So a web developer is more about using existing tools and technology to solve a problem for a company or a client or a customer, or maybe even themselves. So there are programming aspects of web development, but more of what we would refer to a programmer is someone who's writing software from scratch. Web developer uses code and manipulates it to take those solutions to serve the needs of the business that they're working for. And that's primarily the main difference. But there's a lot of gray areas. You still consider some aspects of web developing programming, but it's not truly software development like what we normally consider programming to be. Hopefully that answered the question as best I could.
All right, thank you, George. Does this program teach me graphic design?
It's not dedicated to teaching just graphic design. There are graphic design components built into it, but we're not going to be teaching programs like Photoshop or Illustrator or GIMP or anything like that. We utilize the graphics within our interfaces, like the web pages that we build. So there's styling components, but we're not here to teach graphic design from the ground up. We don't require a graphic design background, but like I said, there are aspects of it taught within the program. I mean, I was a graphic designer at one point, so as the lead instructor, I'm able to infuse a lot of that into it. But if you're here to learn Photoshop, that's more of a graphic design curriculum. The web design is where we take, again, mostly existing elements and mix them together with color and layouts and structure and make things look nice and make them operate the way they were supposed to. But there will be aspects of it throughout, but for a standalone graphic design curriculum, it's not dedicated to it at all.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the question, why are you teaching Java and Python instead of C++?
So when we first built this curriculum out in like 2015, we really had to take a look and say, well, what are we going to actually teach within the 900 hours? So there's reports every year by various technological agencies, publications and things like that, which I always talk about what are the hottest languages being used. So when we first started, we went with that. We went with the ones that are required, like HTML and CSS are primarily required for learning how to build a website. But after that, you can kind of pick and choose certain ones depending on what you need them for. So we started out going with the ones that were the most popular. Once we have instituted that curriculum and we actually started running classes, we were able to bounce ideas off of the companies hiring our students, the students who are working in the field. Again, we have this thing called the advisory board that we work at, but we still actually look at those publications. And I'm happy to say that for the last 6 years that we've been doing this, we've been in line with all those reports that say we're teaching the hotter languages. The thing about Java is that it's built off of C. So you're getting aspects of some of the other languages without even really knowing it. Programming is programming, whether it's web development or software development. There aren't too many differences. There are a few here and there. So even if a job requires you to learn or know, I should say, like Ruby, another type of language, if you know Java and you know Python and you know PHP, that's a fairly transferable skill where you can't really just count that job out. You might need to take a little bit more time to learn that particular language and the ins and outs of it, but you know the foundation. So we went with the more popular ones at first, but as the curriculum moved on, we saw that those were the actual languages being most utilized in the New York City area that we operate under. So that's kind of why we went that direction with those things.
All right, and I think we have one more here. Why do we learn to code websites instead of just using WordPress or Wix?
Yeah, so we do learn WordPress and we do learn to code from scratch, as you saw in the slides. But some solutions like Wix is a popular one that you might hear marketing and advertising for. Another one is Squarespace. They are really there for a person that wants a website for their business or their personal use and doesn't have the ability to pay a developer to do it or doesn't have the skill set on their own. They let you drag and drop things in to make a website look pretty decent. WordPress is kind of the middle ground between that. We call WordPress a no code or low code solution, where it's a little bit more high end than Wix or Squarespace, but it does let you get a website up and running quickly. But all those things you can only take to a certain level if you only focus on those solutions. If you know the coding background that goes into it, you can take WordPress to a much, much more creative level than if you only learn WordPress alone. So you'll get a little bit of the WordPress side of things, but our primary focus is to give you the foundation so that if you know the foundation already, you can use those shortcut programs and not really feel like you're handcuffing yourself with your abilities. So those things become more of a, little extra add-on if you know them, but you also have learned the foundation from there. So we focus primarily on the coding aspect, which will get you in the door for any company that uses any other solution like WordPress or Squarespace. But we do show you the aspects of those as well to kind of get some experience with them also.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, I think that's it, George. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you have any further questions or you'd like to schedule a virtual tour or a call to go over everything, you can contact us at the number on your screen right now, 516-796-1000, or you can email me at bheadley@hunterbusinessschool.edu. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Have a great day.